live and direct from the Golden State. It's intelligent talk media, The Denice Gary Show. Now, here's Denice Gary.
Ladies and gentlemen, happy Thursday. We're almost there. We just have to work a little harder and we're going to make it. We're going to make it through Friday. Yes, it's been an extremely busy week. I know for all of us. Anyway, I just had to share this out. Of course, I want to talk to you about the latest information that I have and provide you analysis on what's happening with regards to border security. But I've got to share this out about Governor Jerry Brown. So Governor Jerry Brown here in California has been saying goodbye. And in saying goodbye, he has an advice. He has advice for all of us in education and in the business world and in government. So up in Sacramento, this is 2 days ago. It was on my stack of things to discuss, but I couldn't get to it. So as you know, Tuesday's show and yesterday's show, Wednesday's show was really incredible. By the way, for those of you that went to the Denice Gary Show on Facebook to watch my show yesterday, my producer has informed me that the show went down somewhere after 6 o'clock, and we don't know why. We don't know if little Facebook urchins came in there and took it down. We're not sure what happened.
I vote for gremlins.
Gremlins, okay. Yes, I shouldn't say urchins. Should I? Urchins, people use that word to refer to children, right?
Yeah.
And we love children. Okay. You didn't hear me say that. I didn't mean to say that. Gremlins. That's the word. Okay. So I didn't say urchins. I said gremlins. All right. So anyway, speaking of children, I always wanted to run an orphanage. I thought that would be marvelous. Anyway, but that's not the way things. Well, I always wanted to be in politics too. You know, maybe at some point I'll be doing both simultaneously, because of course I have to work night and day. Anyway, so Jerry Brown told members of the media the other day that one of the most important lessons. Now, this is one of the most important lessons according to Jerry Brown. One of the most important lessons that he had learned in his long political career was, quote, in politics you take care of your friends. Quote, in politics you take care of your friends. Keep meritocracy within limits. You've got to go check it out on YouTube. Jerry Brown's, just type in Jerry Brown's Lessons for Government. Jerry Brown's Lessons for Government. You'll really understand why people call him Moonbeam Governor Brown. Keep meritocracy within limits. So it's not about working really hard. It's not about doing a fabulous job. It's not about, being really smart. Being really smart, working hard, and doing a fabulous job. It's not about any of those things. It's about, quote, taking care of your friends. Can you believe the governor of the state of California would say that? And then I thought this was interesting. Again, this is one of his exit interviews. I thought he had a graph put up behind him during his exit interview that showed that California, the state of California, had reached record spending levels on his watch, showing that the man misspent California taxpayer dollars. I guess that was supposed to be a joke. It's not a joke to me as a taxpayer here in California. I don't appreciate the fact that he thought probably it was cute to, put behind one of his speeches the fact that he spent more money than any other prior governor of the state of California. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? If you want it, you can have a license plate that was owned by Governor Jerry Brown that says Dreamer. Look at that. A license plate. And it has his signature. Jerry Brown, Dreamer. Yeah, right. I'm dreaming of the day we get a Republican back in the governorship of the state of California. Also, I'm just, getting a little bit delirious here at the end of the week. Also, wanted to share out this with you. So, we've been fined, right? China, communist country of China. Wait till you hear my story about how 2 Chinese nationals were dropped off here in the Imperial Valley of California, smuggled in. Wait till you hear that story. It's a little later in the broadcast. China's upset with us, and they've ramped up their requirements for our recycled material. As I'm sure most of you know, China has been buying our garbage, and but they're not happy with exactly the kind of garbage that we're sending over there. So apparently California's Bay Area is facing a recycling crisis because China said to them, we're going to start fining you. We're going to charge you. You're going to have to start paying us because you're not sending over the right kind of garbage. So recycling the wrong items now can get you a fine of $26.60 as a taxpayer in West Contra Costa County here in California. In Marin County, the Mill Valley Refuse Service will simply refuse to take your recyclable waste until it has been properly sorted. I heard on the Jim Scott show, I guess it's the broadcast that comes on the weekends, I think, Saturdays and Sundays.
Sure. In depth?
In depth with Jim Scott. It's the Jim Scott show. And he told us, too, what to avoid. So I just wanted to say to all of you people that put your little blue, or your big blue waste container out there in front of your house, that you're going to be in trouble if you don't start recycling the items the way they should be. I found out in listening to Jim Scott in depth that when you throw those plastic bottles into your blue recycle garbage waste can, you've got to make sure that the lids are off, because the lids are not something that China wants, and they are not something that the recyclers here in California want. So, by the way, as for peanut butter and other food containers, you need to clean that out before you stick. You need, excuse me. I've been a little sick. Over the last couple of weeks, so excuse me if I cough. But you're supposed to clean things. So try to clean things, or we're going to be in big trouble from China. In other news, I wanted to report that the Federal Communications Commission has told the Democrats not to tax us on our texting. So good news, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. The Democrats in 2019 are not going to, last report I read, going to tax you on your text messages. Now, moving on. I'm so glad that Democrats tax everything that moves, right? Especially here in California. So we have to thank God. Let's thank God that we can keep texting without being taxed for every message we text. Hallelujah. So I wanted to share this out. Democrats were laughing. I heard them this morning as I was getting ready for my 4-hour morning class today. And one person, kind of a twit, I won't mention any names because it's so unprofessional and inappropriate to call names. So I won't say the person's name. But someone was making fun of the fact that a veteran, his name is Brian Kolfage. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. It's spelled Kolfage. Brian is an Iraq War veteran, He was disabled in the war. We want to thank Brian for his service to the United States of America and fighting Islamic terrorism. Brian was a Trump voter in 2016, and he doesn't have a connection with the administration, but he's raising money to give to President Trump for the wall. So there was somebody on the news, on Fox News this morning, as I was listening, getting ready for work, that was making fun of the fact that a supporter of President Trump, a person that voted for him, has started a GoFundMe page, a GoFundMe project. Well, she misrepresented the facts because I got on the internet to get the latest information. She says only about $1.2 million had been raised to date. Well, I've got news for you, little Democrat gal on Fox News this morning. They've already raised, as of Wednesday night, $2 million. Now, that's been raised in 3 days. Let me repeat that. A disabled Iraq War veteran started a GoFundMe page and has managed to raise $2 million in 3 days. So to all the Democrats that may laugh at this individual's effort and work to help the president get the wall built, shame on you. It just shows your further intolerance, the depths of your vicious, rotten criticism of everyone in this country that supports border security. So share this page out to everybody you know and then some. I want them to know that a disabled Iraq War veteran who understands the need for border security, he tried to help. The fact that he was in Iraq means that, of course, he was trying to keep border security there in Iraq and fighting against Islamists and others that were coming into the country from all over the Middle East. So he understands border security, and he may have been somebody that had top secret clearances, as did I, and absolutely knows that terrorists come across the border. And it's not just from, across the Mexico border, Mexico's border with the United States, but they, come across into the United States from Canada. I get that. And we've beefed up security along that border. It's not talked about, but we have. And we also know that people that overstay their visas here in the United States or come through chain migration, are awarded a visa and allowed to come through chain migration. We understand all of that. So the fact that, I hear Democrats in the media talking about ha ha ha, doesn't the president know that, illegals are here, but by virtue of the fact that they overstay their visas? Yes, you can just know that the president knows that. You can know that a lot of people know that. But it doesn't take anything away from the fact that tunnels are being built and that people are crossing the border illegally, and they can be to the detriment of the United States of America. Case in point, I wanted to share out with you a California man who was deported in 2014 went on a 24-hour reign of terror. So let's just look at that for just a moment. Despite the fact that Democrats are laughing at Republicans today, a 36-year-old man that had been deported at least once, who has a very lengthy rap sheet, according to this news report, was involved in shooting someone, killing someone, carjacking another person's vehicle, and led California police on a dangerous high-speed pursuit. They wound up shooting other individuals, including shooting a farm worker who was in the middle of unpacking fruit in Exeter, California, shot somebody that was at Motel 6. I guess they shot her like 2 or 3 times. They shot her in the arm, shot her in the chest. Took a car, tried to run down people on the road with the vehicle that he stole. So finally he was shot. Says Garcia shot up a Shell gas station near Pixley, California, outside an Arco AM/PM gas station. Wouldn't that just throw you for a loop? You're there at the gas station. All you want to do is get some gas in your car. You've got some illegal that's shooting at people. And I just, and so anyway, he shot up a Shell gas station, and about an hour later was outside an Arco AM/PM. And I just, so he shot at numerous people. It says he then later stole a truck at gunpoint from 3 farm workers. Finally, after, what was it, almost 24 hours? 24 hours later, he finally is shot and killed by police. So, maybe, President Trump thinks about that. He thinks about this poor soul that was shot the other day. This report came out on the 18th. Today's the 20th, so it came out just 2 days ago. So maybe our president has got something there about border security. And because he knows that in the state of Israel, it's kept out quite a number of terrorists. And to me, I would call this individual a terrorist because this is the random and indiscriminate killing of innocent people. And I don't know what his objective was. I don't know if it was political. Maybe he hates President Trump and the fact that the president wants to protect the American people. I don't know if he was a convert to Islam. There's nothing about that in this story. All I know is that this is what the president is trying to do. Moving on, I wanted to share this. This just came to my attention. Well, it came to my attention yesterday, but I didn't have time to deal with it yesterday because we were interviewing Raymond Ibrahim, which I hope that you will listen to that broadcast. This is a scholar who speaks Arabic fluently, knows biblical Greek, and has looked at documents dating back hundreds of years to write a history on Islam. And I think it's really important to get the book, to share it out. Anyway, getting back to what I wanted to say. So an ultralight plane. Now, I don't know that many of you have heard about it, and that's why I wanted to share it on the broadcast today. How many of you, raise your hand, how many of you have heard about these ultralight planes that are coming across the border from Mexico into the United States and dropping off drugs and people? So let me just share this real quick. So the second time in 2 days, right? This article came out on the 19th. Where's it from? Where's it from? I don't know where it came from. Can you help me, Mr. Producer? It was written by a gentleman by the name of Ruben Vivas. So Ruben Vivas wanted us to know, where did I get this from? Oh, the Los Angeles Times. Oh, okay. The Los Angeles Times. All right, so they're reporting out yesterday that in the last 2 days, twice an ultralight aircraft was used in a flying over the border, and this time they smuggled in 2 Chinese nationals. There was a call. You're not going to believe this. Lots of things, different things happen in my life. I don't know how to explain them. I met a communist yesterday from China. So right here, I had an opportunity to meet with and talk to a Chinese communist. And I talked a little bit about persecution of Christians in China, and he said that whoever said that to me was a criminal and they needed to be imprisoned. I'm thinking, I thought to myself, he's defending China, right? China that mowed down students in Tiananmen Square. They were in tanks and they literally ran over human beings in tanks. They shot young people that were asking for greater freedom, for democracy, and they shot them. They executed them in horrific ways. They were arrested and tortured. But I'm speaking to a communist Chinese man here in the studio, and he's telling me that it's lies that there's any kind of persecution, and that anybody that says there is a criminal and needs to be punished. Okay, so we had ultralight aircraft that was used in an illegal cross-border operation where 2 Chinese nationals were smuggled in. Now, this happened around 2 a.m. The latest incident occurred on Tuesdays when agents were made aware of this ultralight plane that had crossed the U.S.-Mexico border. Border agents tracked the plane to an area in Imperial County, California, an area around the Salton Sea. I never even heard of the Salton Sea. Never even heard of it. Salton, S-A-L-T-O-N, Salton Sea. Anyway, it's in the Imperial County. We looked it up. Officials said that the Mexican... Oh, and then there was another incident where 2 Chinese nationals and a Mexican man... No, excuse me. So border agents tracked the plane to this remote area in Imperial County. And then what approached these 2 Chinese nationals was a Mexican man in a 2004 Dodge Neon. He came to pick him up. So then, after this Mexican national picks him up there in Imperial County, by the way, Salton Sea, I understand, is out in the middle of nowhere. That's what I understand. Yeah, Mr. Producer, did you want to say something?
I was going to say it's like south of Palm Desert.
South of Palm Desert, my producer says. We hope that's correct. Anyway, so, and then apparently this alleged human trafficking operation of these 2 Chinese nationals came just 48 hours after border agents seized 129 pounds of meth. 129 pounds of meth that the border agent said was worth $1.4 million and a getaway bicycle. So 48 hours after the alleged human trafficking operation, 48 hours later, border agents seized 129 pounds of meth worth $1.4 million and a getaway bicycle that had been dropped off by a similar aircraft near Calexico. How does somebody take off with 129 pounds of meth on a getaway bicycle? I don't know how that works. But anyway, there was a getaway bicycle. Maybe they were leaving it there for someone else to pick up. How do you run off on a bicycle? But a bicycle was dropped off by a similar aircraft near Calexico. So somebody is waiting for that bicycle. Anyway, it says these ultralight aircrafts can travel as far north as the Salton Sea, where Border Patrol agents have been known to bust drug smuggling operations. Los Angeles Times. Ladies and gentlemen, there's so much to get through today. I'm going to do my best to get through it. When we come back, I want you to hear what Newt Gingrich has to say about the Democrats and what they may experience going forward in 2019 if they're not careful. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Denise Gary Show on the Denise Gary Facebook page. I'm also on the Kerncast Facebook page. But please, I want to direct all my listeners, we're increasingly moving to the Denise Gary page Facebook. As you know, the owner of Kerncast is looking to sell it. So we want to keep directing all the listeners to the Denise Gary Show Facebook page and share this broadcast out. Thank you. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
I want to tell you about a place I love to go, Frugatti's Italian Restaurant. Very few locations here provide seating outside in front of a fabulous water fountain with an atmosphere that is reminiscent to me of eating outdoors in Venice. This is real Italian food by real Italians. And what makes it even more so is owner Ralph Frugoletti, who nearly a quarter century ago brought a wood fire oven from Milan, Italy to make, like his mother, fresh homemade bread and pizzas. Moreover, Frugatti's Denice restaurant offers you not only the very best in Southern Italian cooking, even importing the finest ingredients for authentic Italian food, including a fitness menu. After all, Ralph has represented the United States in Italy, competing in the Master Championship Games. He knows all the right food for good fitness, so check out the menu. After today's broadcast, run over to Frugatti's Italian Restaurant and Catering at 600 Coffee Road here in Bakersfield. And after a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday service, stop into Frugatti's for a great lunch. I'll see you there, and tell Mr. Ralph Frugaletti that Denice sent you. Salute. Buon appetito.
Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to legal matters, contact Barb Reynolds. She is a contract paralegal to lawyers, and she will take good care of you. Moreover, she is a Kern County legal document assistant to pro per litigants. She has 47 years of paralegal experience, and for over 30 years has been an educator in the field of law and paralegal work. If you need help handling your adoption, bankruptcy, civil suit, divorce, debt consolidation, evictions, immigration, or attorney referrals, contact Barb Reynolds if you want to win your case. Call Tehachapi Court Services today at 661-822-1994. Barb is simply the best. Call Tehachapi Court Services today at 661-822-1994. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Denise Gary Show. So, more than 900 Americans die every week from opioid-related overdoses. That's according to stats we have for 2017. Every American community, big or small, has experienced this epidemic's merciless advance in our cities and towns. And I thought, in thinking about what I just shared out in the first segment about this California man that's been deported, came back, wound up shooting several individuals, killing at least one, possibly two. We don't know yet. They're in the hospital. We read about this deceased migrant girl, a little precious 7-year-old girl that wound up dying after Border Patrol agents took her to the hospital. She was taken to the hospital, and they said that she died of severe dehydration and lack of food. I want you to listen to Newt Gingrich on the fact that the Democratic Party, by obstructing President Trump and his desire to increase border security through some kind of a border wall, as well as, when the president says border wall, the Democrats are getting into semantics here. He is also talking about other methods and means by which to secure the border. The wall, I think, to the President of the United States, who doesn't like to speak in very specific details. He likes to speak in generalities, I believe. So he's not even though he has an advanced degree, and he's well educated and he's very intelligent and he's made a tremendous amount of money, I just don't think this is a man that likes to speak in a very detailed, precise manner. So when he says border wall, he's talking about everything. And I'd like you to listen to Newt Gingrich, because his point that by virtue of the fact that the Democratic Party is refusing to protect Americans by supporting the president in his efforts to build border security, I think is going to come back to bite them in 2020. Let's listen to Newt Gingrich.
Well, they may win for 2 weeks, but I think the president's probably trying to get past the Christmas season. I've always thought, having been through shutdowns when I was Speaker, I don't think shutting the government down on Christmas Eve is a particularly big win for anybody. And I think it's a pain in the neck for the hundreds of thousands of families that are affected directly by it. So the president has not given up yet. And I do think the issue of whether the Democrats, you know, they're one really disastrous crime away from looking really bad. There are problems with people coming to the U.S. illegally. There are people who commit crimes who come to the U.S. illegally. MS-13 is a threat.
Right.
And I think for the Democrats to decide they don't want to protect America is a tough position for them to take.
Excellent point. And, you know, it's more than that. I mean, when you think about the majority of immigrants that come into the country and then get on welfare or get on other kinds of freebies from the state of California or New Mexico or Texas or Arizona or other states that they move into, it's a real tax issue. I think it not only lowers wages for low-income individuals that are trying to make a living, but you have to think about what this means in terms of taxpayer expense, and it amounts it goes into the billions and billions of dollars. I think, again, I appreciate President Trump tweeting out this month that, you know, the Democrats and President Obama were perfectly fine with giving Iran $150 billion to get Iran to sign a deal to stay their hand at increasing the amount of uranium enrichment that they were producing on a weekly basis, which you know, they may have done, they may have not. I don't know that we'll ever really know, because they have facilities that they wouldn't allow the International Atomic Energy Agency to actually go in and look at. I mean, they kept things secret and not available to be reviewed. And so I think that this is really something that Democrats were willing to do that, but we can't get $5 billion for a wall. And I think President Trump is absolutely correct. You give to the largest sponsor of Islamic terrorism $150 billion, but you can't give $5 billion towards some kind of border security. Anyway, moving on, I want to talk about this business. Got to shut off my phone here; it's making noises. I want to talk about this business with that precious little migrant girl. So, I guess the father, I don't know where the mother is, but the father somehow managed to hire attorneys. That's interesting, right? The father comes up, and he's bringing his little girl. They're migrants, right? They're economic migrants, and he hires attorneys because it's been made clear that this girl died from dehydration, septic shock, and fever. So the migrant child dies, and the father hires a couple of attorneys. I'm assuming that they were just given to him to say that, oh, she wasn't thirsty and she wasn't hungry. You know, I hope they do a DNA check to see if this is really her dad, or if this was a human smuggler that saw this little girl, used her to help try to get into the United States. But this story is incredible to me, and I wanted you to hear Stephen Miller, because Miller talks about how it's the fault. I mean, to me, this is what he's saying. It's the fault of these left-wing activists who are coming in and preventing the President of the United States and the Trump administration from making it clear to individuals that want to break into our country and invade our country that you need to not do that, because if you do, you're likely not to get in, because we don't want to do this catch and release thing anymore. It's not working for the taxpayers of the United States. Let's listen to Stephen Miller.
Our hearts break for the tragic death of the 7-year-old girl. The loss of that precious life is horrifying. It is a painful reminder of the ongoing humanitarian tragedy that is illegal immigration and the misery that it spreads. A coyote dropped off 163 migrants in an extremely remote section of New Mexico. Those individuals were found by Border Patrol, who in many cases act as first responders. In fact, Border Patrol saves about 4,000 lives every single year. Unfortunately, hundreds die on the dangerous trek up. Smuggling organizations profit off death and misery. They are vicious, vile organizations. And it's time that both parties had the appropriate level of outrage over the fact that these organizations continue to take advantage.
Adequately equipped to deal with the record number of families coming across. Why aren't they?
One of the great tragedies that is going on in our country today is the loopholes in our immigration laws and the deficiencies in our immigration laws and left-wing activist judicial rulings that incentivize the most vulnerable populations to come to our country. Last year,
the administration hasn't been able to deter them from making that trip.
Last year, 100,000 unaccompanied alien children or children traveling with adults showed up at our southern border. President Trump took dramatic action, issued an executive order directing illegal traffic to the ports of entry. But a left-wing activist judge issued a reckless nationwide injunction on the president's order, putting thousands of lives at risk and further enriching these grotesque,
and a record number
smuggling
continue to cross.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you know we currently have 12,000 children? 12,000 children that we're housing there at the border. We're not just housing them. We're feeding them. We're providing medical care. 12,000 children that somehow got across the desert. Nobody seems to know where their parents are. And if the children know where their parents are, as I mentioned before on this broadcast, their parents don't want them back. 12,000 children that we're looking to, that the United States government is looking to reunify with their parents, if their parents will have them, or try to get them with a family in their home country where they can be with family. Now, for Margaret Brennan, the woman you saw there, that's Margaret Brennan from CBS Face the Nation. And for her to keep interrupting, I thought it was incredible that she is saying to Stephen Miller, well, why don't they have sufficient facilities? You can build a building overnight? I mean, tens of thousands of people have continued to come as our economy gets better and better here in the United States, thanks to President Trump and deregulating about every sector of the economy and passing this broad tax cut that allowed then businesses to decide, okay, we'll move back to the United States and go for it. Those here in the United States will said, okay, we'll hire more people. Okay, we'll provide our workers higher wages. I think it's important that, we understand that facilities, it is not our desire, it's not my desire as a taxpayer, for us to spend more tax dollars building bigger and more facilities for people that think, oh, I don't like it in my country, so I'm just going to try to sneak into the United States of America. I don't want my taxes. So Margaret Brennan of CBS Face the Nation, that's not how I want my money spent. Is that how you want your money spent? Bigger and more facilities? I just thought she was completely off track. I thought what she should have emphasized in that interview was the fact that Stephen Miller, and by the way, I really like Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is the senior White House advisor to the president. I always think he's so articulate, does a fantastic job. And did you notice that Stephen Miller in that interview pointed out that the Border Patrol saves 4,000 lives every single year? What about that? Margaret Brennan of CBS just waltzed right over that. I don't know that she heard it, so let's make sure we all hear it. The Border Patrol is saving 4,000 lives every year. Maybe this year they'll wind up saving more lives. They're providing food. They're providing water. They're providing fluids. They are providing what facilities we have available. They try to reunite families. I mean, it's a great big job, and I think they're doing a great job. And I want to thank the Border Patrol. You know, somebody sent me this. By the way, you can email me your thoughts, your ideas, questions, comments. Go to the Denice Scary Show at gmail.com, the Denice Scary Show at gmail.com. If you spell my name with an S, it won't reach me. My name is spelled D-E-N-I-C-E. That was my mother's doing. That's a French spelling in Denise. And at any rate, real quick before we go to break, received this from an individual, a regular listener, talking about what happened in one particular emergency room in the United States of America. The story, and I understand, I believe this is a true story, but if it's not, it's close enough. So let me just share it, because this type of thing does go on. So a woman comes into ER. She's with child. This is her 8th pregnancy. And she told the doctor, quote, that she was told that she was the breadwinner for the family, and he asked her to explain that. And she said that she can make babies. And babies get money from the state. So it goes like this. So the grandmother calls the Department of Child and Family Services and states that her unemployed daughter is not capable for caring for all of her children. The Department of Child and Family Services says, yes, we understand, and puts the children in foster care. Well, guess who the foster care parent is? The grandmother. The grandmother volunteers to be the foster parent. That way, the grandmother receives a check for $1,500 per child. $1,500 per child each month, with a total yearly income of approximately $144,000. So, the money is free. Nobody has to go to work, and she had another baby, her 8th child, who's in foster care. So they're both, I guess, taking care of the children and living off $144,000 a year. That's incredible. Free health care, free groceries, because the fertile daughter is the breadwinner of the family. Don't forget to pay your taxes, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the Denice Scary Show. We'll be right back.
President Trump has correctly stated that economic security is national security. And in the Tehachapi Mountains of Kern County resides a United States defense contractor, Anates Products. Here is the Silicon Valley of the aerospace industry, right here in East Kern. Anates Products is a forward-leaning manufacturer and distributor of hardware sold to major defense and aerospace companies. We're talking about Boeing, Lockheed Martin, United Technologies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon General Electric, and on the list goes, as well as to every United States ally worldwide, including Israel, America's most important strategic ally in the Middle East. And for everything that flies, Anates Products is providing the parts. And with me today is the president of Anates Products, Scott Baker. Hi, Scott.
How you doing?
Scott, tell us why you believe this corner of Kern County is the hub of the aerospace industry.
Well, this portion of Southern California here out in the Antelope Valley, it contains, some of the most cutting-edge technology going on in aviation today. We have some of the UCAS programs with unmanned technologies going on. We have Edwards Air Force Base out here who's doing continual testing in their area. We have the Naval Weapons Station up there at China Lake doing some fantastic cutting-edge stuff, cruise missile technology, and those things are going on. We have Scale Composites locally doing a lot of composite technology, which is new. We have SpaceX, which is a private one putting a private entity putting things into space now. This area is the growth center for aviation's future, and this is the area I think that as a nation we need to be concentrating some of our effort and taking this technology. And as we all know, with the space program from Apollo years ago, out of these technologies, we the private sector are going to reap some of the benefits of that.
Thank you, Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Baker, president of Anates Products. Anatase Products, located in the beautiful mountains of Tehachapi, California, in eastern Kern County, is home to some of the most innovative and specialized technologies in the world, including those at the U.S. Naval Air Warfare Center, Weapons Division at China Lake, Edwards Air Force Base, as well as Stratolaunch, launching satellites capable of delivering multiple orbits in a single flight to space. And it is Anatase Products that has provided the manufactured devices, and the president, Scott Baker of Anatase Products, Marine Corps veteran, reactivated on 9/11 to monitor threats to the homeland, is carrying on a tradition of providing for the security of the United States by manufacturing every kind of fastener on anything that flies, as well as providing a full testing destructive laboratory. Contact Anatase Products, now in business for 30 years, at 661-822-6873. Located at 1314 Goodrich Drive in Tehachapi, for your manufacturing and testing needs today.
So listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. The California College's annual Whiteness Forum. Did you know that existed? I did not. I did not know that a group of students here in California belong to California College's annual Whiteness Forum. And guess what they've done? They've labeled a Christian children's cartoon series VeggieTales. Have you ever heard of VeggieTales?
I love VeggieTales.
My producer loves VeggieTales. Okay, he loves it. So anyway, I've heard about it because, I've just heard about it, running in Christian circles, and how children, love these VeggieTales. I guess they're little vegetables, right? They're little vegetables, and they talk to each other, and they tell a story, right? My producer's nodding his head at me, right? That's right, Denice. Okay, good, I got that right. So little vegetables are running around, and they tell a lovely story, and it's it's about, being a good person and having good morals, right?
Yeah, some of them are Bible stories.
Bible stories. Okay, so vegetables are telling Bible stories. I mean, right? Vegetables telling Bible stories. How can that be racist? But according to California College's annual Whiteness Forum, they label the Christian children's cartoon VeggieTales as dangerous. I'm quoting, dangerous, and promoting racial stereotypes. How does VeggieTales promote racial stereotypes? You know why? Because sometimes the villains, they might be green, right? Are they black? Are the villains ever black, Mr. Producer?
I think there's one I don't know if it's a villain, but he's brown.
Oh my goodness. A vegetable that's a brown vegetable might be a villain, so that makes VeggieTales racist. Mm-hmm. Okay, so a female student made the claim that by humanizing vegetables, now this is a cartoon for children, to share Bible stories. But this lovely female student says that humanizing vegetables, the creator of VeggieTales, were using the children's programming to promote racial stereotypes by making the villains racial minorities. Racial minorities. This is too much. The annual Whiteness Forum, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. People on the left, the Democrats, the socialists, the communists, people on the left, you got to wonder, are they really that bright? Okay. So, as we close the show, I wanted to let all of you know that this week was HAMAS, the Islamic Resistance Movement, that that controls the Gaza Strip, because, you know, George W. Bush wanted Israel to give away the whole of the Gaza Strip. Why, I don't know, but, you know, supposedly that was going to create peace. You know, Condoleezza Rice, you know, she thought, oh, that's a great idea, Israel. Yes, give away the whole of the Gaza Strip. How many of Israelis now have had their throats slit or been shot or killed, had their places burned to the ground, had their farms, ranches, fields, forests burned to the ground because Hamas, the Islamic resistance movement, thanks to Condoleezza Rice and George W. Bush, you know, thought it was great for Israel to give up all of Gaza Strip. So thousands of Hamas members this week and their supporters participated in a rally organized by this Palestinian terror organization. And with these thousands of people, of course, are their children, because the children are taught to hate the Jewish people. And they're also taught to hate Christians. But, you know, their real focus, because they're right next to Israel, the real focus is Israel, because they're right there and they're an easy target. They're right there. So I thought that was interesting. And I noticed that based on reports from Israel that there's been an increase in the number of terrorist attacks on Israeli civilians and Israeli soldiers in the last several weeks. And of course the military is blaming the fact that this is Hamas's 31st birthday and seemingly ongoing efforts to get young people, you know, children and teenagers and adults attacking innocent civilians in Israel. So I was surprised that CNN put up a report that they published about tunnels where, now this is from Lebanon, but I want you to listen to this news report. This is surprisingly from CNN. This is a news report about Hizballah, another terrorist organization. Remember, Hamas is in Israel's south in the Gaza Strip. Hizballah was established and promoted by Iran. Hezbollah means the Party of God, and the Party of God's headquartered in Lebanon. And they virtually control the south, and they have several people that were elected into the Lebanese government's parliament. And CNN took a look at the tunnels, this one particular tunnel that was dug by Hezbollah. So when you listen to this news report, I want you to listen to what they say about the tunnel, because those tunnels Iran has helped Hamas build in Israel's south. So Israel has tunnels coming in from its southern border and tunnels being built where terrorists are coming in through their northern border. And, you know, Israel's back is up against the wall. And I just want you to listen to this. I was really pleased that CNN showed a little bit of fairness and objectivity in showing this tunnel. Here we go.
There's a secret in this hole. Those responsible prefer you not to know. We drop a camera down past tens of meters of hard limestone to reveal a sophisticated tunnel, complete with ventilation, lights. It's large enough for an NBA player to stand in. Israel says it's the work of Hizballah, the Lebanese militant group with ties to Iran.
It was important for the Israeli military to drill as close to this wall as possible, and that's because on the other side of this wall is Lebanon. And what they wanted to show is how Hezbollah's tunnel began in Lebanon and entered Israel. Finding this tunnel, though, wasn't so much on what they saw, but rather on what they heard.
Vibrations from drilling exposed the digging. This video shows when the Lebanese militants first discovered their tunnels were no longer a secret.
In that video, we see an explosion. What can you tell me about that?
The explosion, we decided not to kill those people walking in the tunnels. It was a warning for the other side to stay out of the tunnels, and we have the tunnels booby-trapped.
4 tunnels have been uncovered so far. The army expects to find more. Israel says they violate a 12-year-old ceasefire. UN peacekeepers who monitor the border are investigating. Secret, sophisticated technology provides a location. Then they start to drill. There's little margin for error.
If it drills half a meter to the right or half a meter to the left, that's it, you're out. You're not in the tunnel, and you didn't achieve your goal.
Kind of like finding a needle in a haystack.
It's more complicated than that.
The Army says that uncovering the tunnels early has limited the threat, but they had the potential to do Israel great harm. Thousands of civilians living near the border at risk of kidnapping or worse. A senior Hezbollah official previously told CNN the group was surprised by Israel's operation, but neither confirmed nor denied they were digging tunnels. Meanwhile, Israel continues to dig down to build up security.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been going on for a long time, and this is why the United Nations isn't worth very much, because UNIFIL forces, United Nations, quote-unquote, peacekeeping forces, know of 4 of the tunnels, and, of course, did nothing to stop the tunnels. They're supposed to be there on the border. Anyway, the IDF has already found 4, and as of, the Denice Scary Show coming to all of my viewers today at 5 p.m., there could be another tunnel that they've uncovered. I thought it was interesting that over the last several years when I've been reporting about the tunnels that have been built underground from Lebanon into Israel or from Hamas-controlled the Gaza into Israel, it's interesting how people have sometimes told the government of Israel that they were having dinner. And it felt like to them that underneath their dining room or underneath their living room or underneath their bedroom, they could hear movement and sounds. Can you imagine having dinner at home? You've had a long day, you're exhausted, you want to get a bite to eat with your family, or just, if you're a single person, you go home, you're exhausted, you want a little peace and quiet, you want to have some peace, it's been a long day, just have a little bite to eat, and all of a sudden, you begin to sense that the ground is moving slightly beneath your feet. You hear noises. You understand that somehow there's movement literally going on beneath your home. That's what people in Israel are experiencing in the north and the south. I don't know what kind of peace treaty the president has in mind, but I can't imagine there being peace when Muslims continue to do these sorts of acts of terror and teach their children hate. I don't know what proposal could possibly be available that would cause these people, generations of people that have been raised on the Quran and on the whole idea that you have to hate the infidel. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm trying to keep an open mind. So let's see. I understand, I believe in 2019 that peace plan is supposed to be rolled out. I was reading an article the other day. Can't wait to get into it with all of you. Dive right into it with all of you. I want to just end on a happy note. What was it? Here it is. Happy note. So the Washington Examiner says there's optimism among U.S. manufacturers as there's a record high heading into 2019. So again, this source is the Washington Examiner. It's today's paper. The article was written by Joe Williams. It says nearly 89% of the 539 companies polled by the National Association of Manufacturers in the fourth quarter held a positive outlook for their business, bringing the yearly average to 92.4%, the highest in the survey's 20-year history. Manufacturing at a record high in the United States of America. Thank you, President Trump, and all the work you do. I want to thank and tell Ken Hetke how much I appreciate his help in being a sponsor on this broadcast. We appreciate him. There at Recover Your Cub at Tehachapi Municipal Airport. Remember, his business, Recover Your Cub, takes antique aircraft and can make it like brand new. Restore it so that it's like new. And I want to thank our Navy veteran, Craig Jansen, for advertising on the Denice Gary Show, Sculpt 365 Fitness. They're at Brimhall Road in Callaway, 679-7116. They're in Tehachapi on Sage Lane, 823-8205, and in Oildale. Where is that? Where is my paper? Oh, sorry, Craig Jansen. It's here. It's here. Where is it? Can you hand it to me, Mr. Producer? Thank you. So, and in Oildale, it is located on, no, Mr. Producer. Oh, here we go. Chester Avenue. Chester Avenue. I'm sorry. I have to teach a class tonight too. I've got to somehow pull it together. Chester Avenue, 4128 Chester Avenue. So 3 sites for Sculpt 365. Give them a call. Let's support Sculpt 365 Fitness. Ladies and gentlemen, they're absolutely fabulous. I've been there, became a member myself. So please, let's all get down there and become members and support our Navy veteran Craig Jansen at Sculpt 365 Fitness. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to the Denice Gary Show. I hope that, like me, you continue to learn as we go along each and every day. Share the broadcast out, particularly not just with your Republican friends, but with independents and others. We want to win them over. We've got another major election coming up in 2 years, and we need this to go right. Thank you so much for listening. This is Denice on the Denice Gary Show, signing off.
Thank you for listening to the Denice Gary Show. Intelligent talk media.